So, I haven't reviewed anything in a long time. In my old videos, I reviewed, or sort of like did tutorials on the SE50 and SE70 and a couple other random effects things. I was just chaining with those. But it was all about vocals and making your voice sound creepy. So this device here just got released by Roland right after the winter NAMM music convention, and came out a few weeks ago. We'll start on the actual effects or patches. There's only 10 of them, and for each of those 10, which that's, I need to show you again, the rotary of lights in the middle with a knob in between them, that's the effects, and you select them just by turning the dial. And for each of those, there's these 4 sliders, one of which is pitch, the other is called formant, and then there's a mix balancer, which just blends the effect with your normal voice, so you can get just the right mix of the two. And then there's reverb, which sounds like this. That's at 100%. This is at 50%, and this is about 25%. So I actually love the reverb, especially when you're just pitching your voice up and down. If you add the reverb, you can get some amazing like monk chanting effects or a high-pitched angelic creepy voice effect. There's all kinds of stuff you can get just with those simple basic things. So we'll start and go ahead. We're on the direct effect, which is just your normal voice. I guess before I continue, I should mention there's a button up at the top left called Robot. If you hit that, it will lock on to whatever you have the pitch slider set on, so that the notes you are singing, no matter what effect you have selected, will be monotone. No matter how high or low your voice goes, it'll stay at one sort of pitch. But after the direct, well, we're still on direct, sorry. What you can do on direct is just pitch your voice up and down, and then add the formant tweaking, like here's some formant. This is the low formant. High formant. So that just tweaks it a little bit, and then you can pitch up and down and add reverb. So I'll show you what kinds of things you can get by tweaking all those at once. For higher pitches, you can get a childlike or female voice. If you just go a little bit, it's kind of like the female version of your own voice. And if you go all the way, you get a child voice. And with reverb, that can get really creepy. So we'll do that. This is slightly female, slightly normal, but a little pitched up. And now it's a little kid voice. I'm a creepy little kid. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Oh my god, that's creepy. So then you can go down to Barry White voice. A lot of pop music's got little cuts of vocals like that. That Miley Cyrus song has that. The one, you know, we can do it when you want. And then there's, Katy Perry has it in one of hers. I don't remember what the line is, though. It's just something that pop music's using a lot right now, but started in hip-hop and other stuff from the 80s and 90s. Just pitching the voice down is all it is, but it's just supposed to be something interesting. Low pitch voice. Low. Yo, yo, yo. What's up? My voice is so sexy. Isn't it? So that's fun. That's just the basic pitching up and down. So we'll move on to the actual other more effect patches. The next two are Auto Pitch 1 and Auto Pitch 2. Auto Pitch 1 doesn't really, it just doesn't even work that well, as far as it doesn't even give that auto-tune effect. Auto Pitch 2 has like the standard auto-tune voice effect, so they could have really just put Auto Pitch 2 and done something better with Pitch 1, Auto Pitch 1. Not sure why they had to put both of those there, because auto-tuning's already dated, but we'll play with them anyway. Here's auto pitch 1. Test.
Auto pitch 1.
Auto pitch 1. Auto pitch 1. Low voice.
High pitch auto tune.
We'll try auto pitch 2. Here's auto pitch 2.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Auto pitch 2.
Auto pitch 2. Auto pitch 2. Auto pitch 2.
Auto pitch 2.
That one almost didn't sound much better than the other one, but previously when I played with it, that one seemed to be better. Maybe you have to actually be able to sing for it to work. I'm not sure. But the next effect or patch I actually like more than those two for sure. It's vocoder, and it can get some really sharp electronic transformery sounds, and in other vocoders sometimes it kind of muddles or smashes together the two things that you're modulating one sound with a synth sound or vice versa. So this one actually is very crisp if you set it right, so I'll show you that. So that one is pretty fun. I really like how crisp and electronic it sounds. When you think when the forman's mid to mid high and the pitch is low, it gets a really cool sound. So I enjoy that one a lot. I can see some uses, at least for me, for that one. The next one is synth, and that one is just literally a synth laid over whatever your voice is doing. It pretty much covers it up though, so it's not the same as the vocoder where it blends them. In the case of this synth effect, it's just like you're singing a synth note with your voice is pretty much not there. I guess if I were to mix it down, it would blend better. I might try that. Here it is. Synthesizer, synthesizer, synthesizer. So that one's somewhat fun. The next one's called Lead, and it sounds a lot like a theremin, or maybe one of those Halloween ghost toys that make the wobbly ooh sound. So it's pretty fun. I don't see a whole lot of uses for it, but if you wanted a theremin sound, it would be perfect. So we'll play with that. That one cracks me up. That's pretty funny. So that was the Lead. If you add reverb to it, it gets the funny ghostly echo sound on top of the wobbly sound. The next one is called Bass, and it's basically almost like a dubstep wobble bass, but your voice is what affects it or causes it to happen. So if you say wub 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 or ya 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 or whatever, it'll kind of affect it slightly differently. So you can literally vocalize dubstep sounds if you wanted. So that one's pretty fun. If you were, beatboxing or something, you'd probably be good. That'd be good for you. On the Roland promo videos, they have some DJ guy that beatboxes, and he's really good at using the bass effect and another effect on here that we'll get to in a minute. But it's fun. Like most of these others, it's a little bit gimmicky, and there's only a limited amount of things you would use it for, but it's still fun to have it on there. The next one is Megaphone. Here's a Megaphone. Megaphone. 1 2 1 2
1 2. This is a high-pitched megaphone.
Medium.
Low. Super sexy low voice. Yeah. Hello?
If you pitch this one about normal and then go to the bottom of the formant, it's got a almost like the Saw film. Let's see if I can get it. Test. Almost like a Jigsaw voice.
Jigsaw. This is my creepy Jigsaw voice. I'm going to kill you. Ha 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 ha. Do you want to play a game? Do you want to play a game? A gerb.
That one's pretty funny. But that's Megaphone. And then Radio is the next effect, and it's similar to Megaphone, but it's more lo-fi, more gritty. You could use the radio effect more as a old school, if you wanted to record a sound as if it was on an old tape or old record, the radio would be better for that than Megaphone. So here's Radio.
Radio, static, radio, static, creepy, old radio,
So that one's pretty fun. At least with Megaphone and Radio, there's some, especially Radio, you could actually use that if you're prone to doing like lo-fi, old school, random stuff thrown in your songs. So those have more use than the auto-tune also. And the final effect is Scatter, which is a stutter effect, and it basically stutters based on the velocity of whatever you sing, yell, or scream into it. So the faster the velocity of what you say is, the faster the stutter will be. Like I've tried hitting really long, slow notes, and it doesn't really pick them up. So it does, but it's a hit or miss. So we'll try and see what we can get off of it, but it's mostly just another gimmicky one. Here is Scatter effect. Testing 1 2 3.
Wow.
So it does pick it up, but on one thing I noticed is the scatter pattern, which basically stutters slow and then speeds up, like it rises. It's the same. You can't change that pattern in any way. You can speed it up or slow it down a little bit, but that's it. So it's going to sound the same no matter how many ways you scream into it. So it lacks depth there, but like a lot of the other gimmicky effects, it's just sort of there, and you may or may not have any use for it. But since that's the last effect, I'll go back to just the basic direct one, because I wanted to show that being the simplest one, I've actually found more interesting sounds from it. Just was going to go back over them. I may have already done a few things like it, but if you pitch it down or up and add reverb, you get, very either creepy sounds, or if you do maybe like go psytrance, that's what I'm thinking of. They always have monk chanting or things layered in, maybe new agey sounding stuff. So you can get that effect just by holding a deep note and sliding the pitch so your voice is super deep, and add the reverb. Something like, let's say this. And then you got the high pitch, slightly more angelic sounding. So that was fun. I think that was simple. Just editing those sliders on the direct mode, even though that's the simplest thing you can do, I'm going to get more mileage out of that than any of these gimmicky things. I mean, that with the radio and the vocoder and maybe the theremin sound, the lead, I would probably get the most use out of on here. The others are just kind of maybe, like once in a while you might find a use for them. So yeah, I mean, for $200 you're getting a decent amount of stuff. The overall sound is good. I think its ability to pitch your voice up and down is nice and smooth. I definitely recommend it. Now if you're looking for what I've done in some of the other videos, like pitch shifting with multiple pitches and terror EBM, creepy voice, you're not going to get that on this. But you will be able to do one single pitch up and down, so you can change your voice to sound high pitch, low pitch, or just creepy. But it's not going to be that aggro-tech, terror EBM, electronic kind of thing that I did in the old videos. So it's definitely worth it, depending on what you're looking for. That's about it. I'll give you a close-up of the faceplate, like I said I would. It's a little dark, but you got the 4 sliders. The 2 sliders on the left are pitch and formant. The 2 on the right are the mix, balance, and reverb. The middle dial is, of course, where all the effects you select are. Up top you got volume and mic sensitivity. There's a button below them that is the robot button, which I mentioned earlier. Then you have these, which are manual, which is glowing, and then 1, 2, and 3. Manual just means you hit every knob or slider manually. 1, 2, and 3 basically let you save where your slider positions are into one of those numbers, which is just a bank, and then recall it later quickly without having to touch the slider. So if you have a certain setting, like I obviously love that creepy, echoey, churchy sound, so I can lock that in and save it on one of those to use anytime without having to re-slide those sliders. Then you have this glowing button here, which is just bypass, which turns off the effects so you can hear your voice. If you want to check it out, it's by Roland. It's the VT-3 voice transformer. And thanks for watching.